know, it's two types of dramas. We got drama that we can avoid, and then we have drama that we just can't avoid. Right. So an example of drama that we should be able to avoid, and a good example would be baby daddy drama.
All right.
Right? That's drama that you can avoid if you're wise. Yeah. But some drama as far as sickness and things like that, you know, those are things that sometimes we just can't avoid.
Amen.
So the first thing we want to talk about is, what is drama?
Yeah.
So when I think about drama is normally an exciting or emotional event that takes place that's unexpected, and it's normally bad when it comes to drama.
Yeah.
So, you know, thinking about how to become drama free, when we took a look at Ephesians earlier today, Paul gives some good advice. Some good advice that will keep us from living will make us live a drama-free life. Now, like I said, we can't avoid all things, but we can avoid some of this riffraff that happens in our life.
Amen.
Some of these unhappy circumstances that we get ourselves in, we can avoid those things if we execute wisdom with doing that. So again, we're going to go ahead and jump into Ephesians. It's chapter 4, starting at verse 31.
Amen.
So again, if you haven't already gotten it, it would be Ephesians 4 and 31.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Now, here it says, get rid of all bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. So let's just stop right there. We talking about how to become drama free.
Yes.
One of the ways is to become drama free is to get rid of bitterness, to get rid of rage and anger and any form of malice. I mean, if we can get rid of that, we probably will save ourselves so much time with arguing and disagreeing with people and falling out with relationships. Be kind and compassionate to one another. Again, if we follow this, what Paul is telling the church, we can live drama free. Being kind and passionate to each other and forgiving each other. Just as Christ forgave us. So we talked about earlier, we want to become more Christ-like. And to do that, we got to start forgiving each other. Being compassionate toward each other. Getting rid of anger and bitterness. If we can do that, again, just going back, that's the setup for a drama-free life, just right there. Follow God's example. Therefore, as dearly loved children, and walk in the way of love, just as Christ loved us and gave himself up as a fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. Again, that right there, we talking about love. Love gets rid of a lot of drama. If you love, you know, if you're loving a person, it gets, like I said, if you give it love, it'll help you get rid of drama. And again, now the thing about that is, when we talk about how hard relationships are, if the other person is not willing to give up the bitterness, to give up the rage, then again, that's when you have to become wise. You got to be wise enough to understand that everything is connected. If you don't want to be connected to somebody that is not able to give up rage and bitterness, that's not able to be compassionate and love people, you need to be wise enough to let that situation or that person go. Because a wise person understands that the present is soon going to be your past, but it's going to show up in your future. Okay? So let me say that again. A wise person understands that their present is going to be their past, but it will show up in your future. Okay? So, with moving, just going right back into the scripture here. But among you, there must not be even a hint of sexual immortality. Now, when we talk about drama, it's a couple things, that key areas that we normally have strife in, that, you know, it'll be sexual, relational, and financial. Those three are, if we can conquer that, that'll save us 90% of the drama that we even face in our lives. All right. So, and any kind of impurity or greed, again, going back to money and finances. But because these are improper for God's holy people, he's telling you this is improper. for us to be doing that, and we are part of the body of Christ, it's improper
Amen.
for us to be doing that.
Yes.
Nor should there be obscenities, foolish talk, or coarse joking, which are out of place, but rather thanksgiving.
Yes.
So again, we shouldn't, if we want to avoid drama, he's telling us right here some things that we can do to avoid drama in our lives.
Hallelujah.
And one of those things is to avoid obscenities and foolish talk.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Foolish talk and backstabbing and gossiping and all of this, that's foolish talk, which always, not sometimes, but always leads into drama.
Amen. Amen.
So this advice that Paul gave the church, again, this is something that we need to take with us and just hide in our hearts. Amen. And when we face it, we need to understand also too, when it comes to drama, it's directly tied to the decisions that we make.
Yes. Amen.
All right. So everything again is connected. A wise person knows that all the decisions that they make are connected.
Amen.
And a wise person, when you're up against something, you need to ask yourself, the one question you want to say when you're making a critical decision is, what is the wise choice?
Yes.
You know, what is the wise choice?
Yes.
Not what is the right choice, right? Because what's right to you might be wrong to somebody else. And we know that the culture we live in, it pushes us to the edge, right? So we like to get just close enough where we ain't sinning, but we push the envelope. We push the envelope. So again, the question is, what is the wise thing to do?
Yes.
And when you're making a decision, ask yourself that. Think about your current situation that you're in. All right, this is my financial situation. I know my credit cards is maxed out. I got one good one, but I see this curved TV that's on sale at Walmart. Again, ask yourself, what is the wise decision to make, right, in this current situation? And then again, always know that sometimes when you have to make a decision, the right decision or the wise decision is normally the hardest decision. It's the decision of that you might have to deny yourself. But again, we have to stay focused. We know that our current situation gonna be the past, and then that decision you make gonna show up in your future.
That's right.
And if you want to make sure that the decision that you make to get the results in the future you want to make sure you're making wise decisions. Amen. And it just can't get any clearer than what Paul said in Ephesians. That's where you start at. Amen. That's where you don't start there. And when it comes to dealing, getting drama out of your life, one of the major things that I've noticed when it comes to getting drama, if you doing important things, you become an important person. Then when you become an important person, you ain't got time for pettiness. You ain't got time for bitterness because you going somewhere. God taking you somewhere. You just ain't got time for it. And you might say, okay, what's important? What's important is when you serve it. When you serving other people. When you start serving other people and caring about others other than yourself, that's when you become important. That's when you can stop being petty. That's when you can get the drama out of your life. When you start serving other people and doing important things that's going to benefit and move your life and the lives of people around you forward. When you wrapped up in school, when you going to school to try to better yourself, guess what? And you going to work, you ain't got time for pettiness. You ain't got time for drama. You ain't even trying to hear none of this foolishness. But guess what? If you ain't got nothing good going on in your life, nothing productive going on in your life, you lending the ear to every petty piece of gossip your ear can receive. And you ain't got nothing going on in your life. And again, that's something, we want to be wise. So when you being wise, you want to make sure that you recognize immediately those people and distance yourself. You can still love them, but love them from a distance. Do not continue to have those people in your life because they pettiness will bring you down and you will find yourself wrapped up in drama. I'm going to tell a quick story about drama and how I just see people get wrapped up in it and it's just ridiculous. This is a true story. I have a tenant that sent me pictures of her face, and I got it in my phone now, where her baby daddy, this drama that you can avoid, right? You need to get some of this Jesus juice. I keep telling them, you girl, look, you need to get some of this Jesus juice because it's tasty. It's extra tasty, baby, and I'm drinking it, and I'm doing good. It's bringing life to me on the inside. Don't know what you drinking because what you drinking on is killing you.
Amen.
So her baby daddy sent 3 girls up to her job to whoop on her. Beat the sleeves off of them. I'm telling you. I mean, from the pictures, I'm like, dang, you got knocked out. You know what I'm saying? You got you Craig and got, So, but again, that's drama, and the reason for her sending that is because she was telling me, I can't pay my $170 rent this month because I got beat up by my baby daddy. These chicks he sent over to my job, and I ain't been able to go to work because I'm sore. Temple Fitzgerald. So, those are the types of drama that we can avoid. We need to avoid some of these stupid situations that we get ourselves into. And one of them, I'm going to say, when it comes to relationships, again, if you in something that's volatile, that's unhealthy, you need to be wise enough to get out. Because again, that's pulling you so far, that's pulling you away from Jesus. It's hard to focus on God and doing the right thing when you're getting the sleeves beat off of you, right? You would think that'd be the first thing that people run to is Jesus for help. But no, from what I see, people run to the bottle. They run into the blunts. They run into the crack, the heroin. That's what they run to instead of running to Jesus, which in turn gives them more drama in their life. Again, so we have to focus on getting our lives calm and settle down because guess what? Those people out there, they got drama. And if we gonna serve these people out here, we need to know how to handle drama, know how to teach people and disciple these people to get rid of some of that drama in their life because all this drama is gonna continually take them away from God every single time. So we have to learn how to manage the drama in our own lives and reduce it as much as possible. And when it does come our way, we got the faith to just know it's temporary. Don't let it knock us down and still stand. Stand until we get the results that we want. Right? Because Satan will bring drama into your life just to knock you back some. Just to see if you're going to give up on God, if you're going to curse God. So when the drama comes and it's unavoidable, you got to take this drama. Take it on. Take it on with pride when you take it. Bring it on. Bring on the drama. Because guess what? I'm a problem solver. I'm a problem solver. My daddy is the Most High God. I can go through anything and I can still stand. No matter what, I'm going to hold my own. And that's what we got to get to the point about. And we got to make sure that we get this so we communicate this out to the public because I'm tired of all these weak people. All these weaklings out there crying and falling out over every little single thing that come up in their life. When in reality, you causing all these problems due to the decisions that you're making. Everything is connected. If you are a wise person, you know every decision you make is connected to your future. Every last situation. Hey, you can be in there, hey, God will say, don't go this way. You will get a little inkling in your mind telling you not to go down a certain street or take the highway. You don't listen. So you just go and now you stuck in traffic, right? So things like that, we trust ourselves. Because most of the times when we're up against a decision that we have to make, you pretty much know the wise decision to make, right? But again, us in culture, we try to push it to the edge. And so we'll go with not the so-called wise answer, right? And we have to make sure that when we're out in our daily lives, in order for us to make this church grow. I want this church to grow. I'm looking forward to this church growing. I'm trying to do whatever I can to make it grow. And because of that, I had to learn how to manage drama in my own life. And when you learn how to manage your drama, you become a powerful person. When you can manage your own drama and somebody else's, when you can fix not only your problem, but you can fix everybody else's problem, you become they sought after you.
That's right.
For your guidance.
Yeah.
And that's what all of us need to get to the point and make it our business to learn how to handle not only our drama, but be able to handle their drama too, because they coming with it.
Yeah.
But guess what? But if we didn't ever went through no drama, if we ain't went through nothing, then we can't help them get through nothing.
That's right.
Guess what? Because this is another example. Hey, if my lights ain't never been cut off, I ain't never had a utility out. Guess what? I don't know nothing about the utility assistance that I can recommend to somebody else. Again, I had to go through some things so I can learn how to deal with it. That way I can go ahead and help you deal with your drama and clear that right then and there too. So that's my message for today, guys. I hope that you take this on you for the week. Again, when we making decisions, let's just make decisions that are wise. And think about the current situation and think about the future situation and make your decision based off of that. If we continue to do that, we will build a foundation that's so strong, nothing will be able to knock us down. In Jesus' name, amen.